just shy of the 48. Bouncing, Allen throws complete.
As painful as it is to be a failure, there's an argument to be made that the real tragedy is for the guys that aren't bad. They're good. Just good enough to win and win a lot, but never win the big one. The kind of quarterback who teases a franchise with flashes of brilliance only to break hearts when it matters most. The guy who racks up stats, Pro Bowl nods, maybe even a couple of playoff wins, but is never able to hoist the Lombardi trophy. Now look, this isn't personal. These guys are really talented. No one's debating that. Some of them will probably have businesses and notoriety in their cities long after their playing days are done. Whether it's due to bad timing, bad coaching, or just bad luck, these 10 NFL quarterbacks are stuck in football purgatory where almost is their middle name. So with that out of the way, let's get into our list of 10 stars who can't seem to win the big one and maybe never will.
Your second round pick, the skill set, and he keeps moving, extending the play, and then boom.
Tua Tagovailoa, Miami Dolphins. All right, Dolphins fans, take a deep breath. When Tua Tagovailoa is healthy, he looks like Drew Brees reincarnated. Accurate, smart, quick decision maker. It's all there. But come on, let's be real. We've all seen the stats in the electric factory that the Dolphins offense can be when Tua's on the field. But can is the operative word there, because keeping him on the field and healthy has been a massive issue. And while the Dolphins look like legitimate contenders when he's out there and playing his best, when he's not, they just look like another AFC East laughingstock. While knocking off the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, and whichever team rises to the top in the NFC is a challenge, the real battle that Tua needs to win first is over his own health. Because in the NFL, if you can't stay on the field, you can't win the big one. Plain and simple. The Dolphins have built an absolute track team around him. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, two of the fastest guys in the league. But it doesn't matter how fast your receivers are if your quarterback isn't out there to throw them the ball all year long. Even if Miami is able to qualify for the postseason, with him missing games, getting through January will look like a major uphill battle. It's sad to say, but looking at it now, Tua's career arc feels like one that'll leave fans saying, man, if only he could have stayed healthy. Kirk Cousins, Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins, in many ways, is the ultimate regular season quarterback. When he's able to stay healthy, he'll give his squad 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and make every fantasy owner feel like a genius. But when the lights get bright, either on prime time or in the postseason, well, let's just say I wouldn't bet the mortgage on him. After all, we're talking about a guy who has a career record of 1-4 in the playoffs. He's the exact kind of quarterback that this list was designed for. You know, the kind that'll light up the Chicago Bears or New York Jets on a Sunday afternoon. But if a high-stakes playoff game against a coach with a week to scheme up some deceptive blitzes to make Cousins uncomfortable, well, good luck. At his best, Cousins is good, but not great. And in today's NFL, where elite quarterbacks just run the show, good is not getting you a ring. And with the way things have unfolded for him in Atlanta, and it is looking like that starting job is going to be Michael Penix Jr.'s to lose going forward, there is a real chance that Cousins has now seen his last chance to compete for a Super Bowl pass him by. I'm not sure there'll be a large list of suitors eager to bring him in as a 36-year-old with a bum Achilles. It's been the prevailing theme throughout his admittedly otherwise impressive career, but the smart money says that Cousins is going to be another one of those guys who was just good enough to get his team to the playoffs, but never quite great enough to get them over the hump and hoist that Lombardi trophy. Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. Now, let me get ahead of the comment section. This isn't another empty chapter of Lamar slander. We know that the internet loves to hate on the Ravens' superstar quarterback, and this is not that. I promise you. Because, man, Lamar Jackson is electrifying. He's an unbelievable runner and thrower of the football. When you turn on a Baltimore game, whether you're a Ravens fan or not, you're almost always guaranteed to see something that makes you shake your head in disbelief and will almost certainly be entertained. He is the living, walking, breathing personification of how did he do that? But here's the problem. While Lamar is a cheat code in the regular season, for whatever reason, he has just not been able to find that same level of consistent success in the playoffs. I don't know if it's opposing coaches having a singular focus on game planning for him or nerves or whatever, but one thing is pretty clear. Once January football rolls around, it is a different story for the Ravens. And Lamar is borderline a different player. Now, before you rush to blame the supporting cast, because I know that's coming, we need to face the facts. Lamar's had a great defense. He's had solid run games, and Baltimore has done well to add receivers receiving weapons like Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. Yet, when the playoffs arrive, Lamar's play drops and the entire team tightens up as a result. It's not a question of talent. Lamar can do things most quarterbacks wouldn't even dream of, but to win a Super Bowl, you need to have more than flash. You need to be able to deliver 60 minutes, maybe even more, of precise and poised football. And until Lamar consistently proves that he can, he's going to keep racking up regular season highlights, MVPs, and unfortunately for his supporters, postseason heartbreaks. Derek Carr, New Orleans Saints. One week, Derek Carr will have analysts calling him the most underrated quarterback in the league. The next, he's throwing interceptions and having drive stall out like a 96 Honda Civic. Now in New Orleans, Carr is supposed to be the steady veteran that the Saints needed to climb back into contention. But as we've seen since he arrived in the Big Easy, he just doesn't quite have the chops to elevate a franchise to greatness. He'll put up solid numbers and keep things close, but when the stakes are high, Carr fades faster than your New Year's resolutions. With him under center, the Saints can stay relevant in the NFC South. But Super Bowl talk? Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is built like a defensive end, can sling the pigskin like a young Brett Favre, and runs like a fullback on steroids. You'd think that's the recipe for a championship-winning quarterback, right? Well, year after year, the Bills knock on the door, and Allen's the one who just can't quite kick it down. The guy does everything for Buffalo, and somewhat counterintuitively, that's sort of what ends up being the problem. When your quarterback is not only QB1, but also the best rushing option, the goal line weapon, and at times, the sole source of offense for your team, well, it eventually catches up to you. Furthering the issue is that while Allen can win you any game with his breathtaking ability to make plays out of nothing, he can also lose you any game with those head-scratching turnovers. Buffalo's window isn't closed yet, but it is starting to creak. The defense isn't what it used to be. Allen's done a nice job with his young weapons, but Stephon Diggs isn't there anymore, and the AFC is loaded. Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, even Justin Herbert and co. out in Los Angeles are starting to make waves now that Jim Harbaugh has come to town. For him to get from the wild card or divisional round all the way to and through the Super Bowl undefeated will require a level of consistency from him and the rest of the Bills that is really hard to sustain with the way that they operate. Allen has got the talent, no question about that. But until the Bills figure out how to build a team that doesn't rely on solely him to play superhero every Sunday, the Lombardi Trophy is going to stay well out of reach. Them's is just the facts. Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy is the NFL's ultimate underdog. He's even more than the quarterback no one believed in. He was a quarterback that no one even knew of, until he was suddenly leading one of the most dangerous teams in all of football. It's a feel-good story, sure, but this league isn't a Disney movie, and the smart money says that Purdy will never end up bringing the 49ers, or any other team at this rate, to a Super Bowl victory. We're just calling it like it is. Purdy didn't drag the Niners to a Super Bowl. He is an exceptional system quarterback. We saw that this past year when Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and CMC weren't healthy at various points throughout the year. This offense, and Purdy in particular, simply did not look the same. There's nothing wrong with being a game manager. There are dozens of teams around the league that would give an arm and a leg for a player as competent as Purdy. But that speaks more to the desperate situation so many teams are in with the quarterback position rather than any ringing endorsement of his ability to put a team on his back and elevate them to Super Bowl glory. Unless Purdy's development suddenly goes parabolic and he turns into something more than a system quarterback, he is going to keep coming up short when the stakes are raised. Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. Oh, how long are we going to do this dance? Every year, Cowboys fans convince themselves this is the year. And every single year, Dak Prescott reminds them that no, it's not. Alright, don't get me wrong. Dak is a good quarterback. He's tough, a leader, and he puts up numbers. But at some point, you need to stop losing home playoff games. Prescott has not proved that he can win in the moments that define legacies. So, until that changes, Dallas isn't going anywhere. Because while he is steady and he'll win you 10 plus games without breaking a sweat, you have to be delusional to think that he's carrying this team when it matters most. Damn near every single year when the lights get bright, Dak seems to blink, almost without fail. Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert looks like he was created in a quarterback factory, man. 6'6", laser arm, effortless throws down the field, and more than enough athleticism to make plays with his legs. It's almost like he was built in a lab to play quarterback. On paper, he should be stacking MVPs by now and competing for Super Bowls on a yearly basis. So why can't the Chargers legitimately compete, let alone win the big one? That is the million-dollar question right now. Now, Now, some of it is not Herbert's fault. Prior to Jim Harbaugh, there has been plenty of bad coaching to point the finger at. And of course, a few brutal injuries, but at a certain point, the great ones overcome that adversity. The good news is that Herbert's got time, but it is ticking. And if Herbert can't take that next step soon, we're going to be talking about him the same way we talked about Phillip Rivers. Great, but never great enough to win the big one. Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield is like that action movie hero who refuses to stay down. People will count him out, the credits will start to roll, and then, bam! There's a sequel that no one saw coming. From Cleveland, Carolina, a brief Hollywood cameo with the Rams, and now Tampa Bay. Mayfield's career keeps finding new life. And to his credit, he just keeps improving. But, come on, let's be honest. Mayfield isn't leading anyone to a Super Bowl. Baker's that guy who'll pull off a few jaw-dropping wins, get the fan base hyped, and then throw 3 picks in a playoff game. It's not that he's bad, he's just limited. Mayfield thrives as the underdog, but underdogs don't win the big one unless they have a defense like the 2000 Ravens behind them. Baker's grit is undeniable, but winning championships is a whole different story. Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers. The Packers and their fans believe that Jordan Love is the next guy up in a long line of legendary quarterbacks. But let's pump the brakes on those Aaron Rodgers comparisons. Love has the tools, no doubt. Big arm, athletic, and flashes of brilliance, but man, he really struggles to consistently protect the football. And there are legitimate questions about his ability to really elevate this team to a championship level. The reality is that the Packers have been spoiled by 3 decades of Hall of Fame quarterback play, and they might have unfortunately stumbled onto fool's gold with Jordan Love. Because from where we're sitting, Love's ceiling feels like a good quarterback, but not a great one. And definitely not one that's going to bring a February parade to the frigid streets of Green Bay. Sorry, Packers fans. But hey, which NFL star quarterback do you think will never truly win the big one? Who do you think we got right here? Who do you think we got wrong? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.